Are you okay with that? How's that gonna look?
That's good.
Okay, I just think maybe that'll give us a better image of the pictures.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's a lot of red.
Okay. All right, everybody, focus back. Here we go.
The audience is raked down towards the actors. There is no scenery, no props, no furniture, and no mime. Instead, the focus is entirely on the drama of the scene. This quote is the only direction that Mike Bartlett gives for the set of the play Cock. I chose this quote because it showcases both the freedom and the restriction of Mike Bartlett's envisioned set. Today, I will be discussing 3 productions of Cock by Mike Bartlett. In order to prepare for this speech, I read the play, researched different productions of the play, read a little bit further into them, and curated pictures from them that I believe are relevant. The 3 productions I will be focusing on are the Royal Court Theatre's production, the Herald Theatre's production, and the Melbourne Theatre Company's production. First, we will observe the first production of Cock, which debuted November 9th, 2009 at the Royal Court Theatre. In an article written by Michael Billington for The Guardian, he observes how Mike Bartlett's very particular set for the show transformed the Royal Court Theatre into an arena. He stated that it seems wholly apt that Miriam Buther's set turns the Royal Court Theatre upstairs into what looks like a circular dissecting chamber, since Bartlett's play examines, with clinical precision, what Schopenhauer once called the tyranny of the weak. I picked this quote because it gives perspective to what the audience viewed in the production. They looked down upon the actors as M and F fought against each other. Quite contrastingly, Charles Spencer, critic for The Telegraph, did not like the minimalist arena set. Unfortunately, the staging is marred by gimmickry. The audience are seated on hideously uncomfortable, steeply raked wooden benches, looking down on a circular stage resembling a small bull ring, or perhaps, more aptly, a large cockpit. I selected this quote because, in its haste to critique very harshly, it paints the best picture of the set. We have the audience seated above, slated down on where the eventual cockfight would take place on wooden benches that are maybe not the most comfortable, maybe don't have enough cushioning. However, Spencer continues his assault, saying, "There is nothing in the way of scenery, props, or furniture, and scenes are punctuated by a ridiculous electronic painting noise. It is as if those involved are vaguely ashamed that the play is so conventional and are determined to disguise the fact with modish minimalism." We will now take a look at pictures from the production, but that quote shows how far from convention this play is going, and yet how utterly within convention. It's both a revolutionary minimalist set, but sort of within what you would expect from minimalism. As you can see, we have a green floor followed by this wood, like raked up set. Each of these cushions, I believe, is a seat. So the actors really have no space from the audience. The audience is right there bearing down on them the entire time. As you can see, M, F, and the main character, I'm forgetting his name. They all have very blue outfits, very nondescript outfits that aren't necessarily going to give them any characterization as well, so that it really falls on the actors to sort of live the character and give us something to work with. Next, we will talk about the Herald Theatre's production in New Zealand. In his 2017 review of this production, Sam Brooks doesn't shy away from criticism. He says, "When I first read Mike Bartlett's description of the set, it made me shudder. It's the kind of pretentious list of instructions you'd expect before a play that takes itself incredibly seriously. One without the ideas to carry the weight of these instructions." I chose this quote because, again, it's part of this sort of very large set of criticism for specifically the set I ran into when I was researching this play. However, in the same review, Brooks revises his judgments when the play is brought to life before him. He says, "It feels like we're in a boxing ring, albeit the most bougie, stately boxing ring you've ever seen. The entire set is white, the performers on a raised set, and surrounded by audience on 3 sides. It's claustrophobic as hell for people watching, and the production lends itself to some beautifully voyeuristic people watching." I like this quote because it shows how directors can still have some freedom within Mike Bartlett's instructions. The set is very different from the original. However, it must be wondered, is this set, a departure from the more clear cockfight set, able to convey the same caginess? Thankfully, in an article by Ethan Sills for the New Zealand Herald, the lingering question is answered. The empty stage is used to full effect, letting the cast prowl and scowl around each other in a Mexican standoff where words are the weapon of choice. A key aspect of this play is letting the actors exist without an expensive set detracting from the drama, which this quote beautifully shows. Now we will look at pictures from this production. As you can see, the set is just stark white. There is absolutely nothing for the actors to kind of grab onto. We have the same sort of costuming where it's very dull colors. Again, not much in characterization from the clothes. So again, it's really just the audience is right up on the actors. There aren't that many of them, and they have to give us all the drama from just the words of the debate. Finally, we will be examining the Melbourne Theatre Company's production in 2014 at the Arts Centre, Melbourne. In a rather harsh review on her personal blog, there's a theme. Kate Herbert describes the innovations of the Melbourne production. Caceres sets the entire three-way relationship battle in a sea of puffy white cushions that are perhaps meant as an obtuse metaphor for the fluffy thought processes, soft landings, or ill-defined relationships. Who knows? I chose this quote, even though it was incredibly harsh, because it got to the heart of what was different about this production, which is there is just a sea of pillows everywhere. Although this play never really takes us to the bedroom, it definitely has that sort of preoccupation with sex. And this is the only production that really brings us to that arena. Unfortunately for the creative team of this production, it seems that multiple reviewers might have thought that the pillows were a misstep. Alison Croghan, in her review for The Guardian, says this: Leticia Caceres' direction does this play no favors, bogging down what ought to be a series of short, sharp scenes in a set constructed almost entirely of pillows. For the first scenes, you can't see the actors' feet, which is surprisingly irritating, underlining the lack of groundedness in this production. The directing isn't deft enough to get away with the conceit of having no props in what is essentially a naturalistic play. Again, this quote shows some criticism for the play and the set. However, there are positive reviews for this production that I did find. I had to dig for them, but they were there. I found this positive review from Anne-Marie Peard on her personal theater blog. The Fairfax's semicircle stage is covered with huge white pillows that highlight the brightly mismatched costumes while looking part giant bed and part padded cell. It makes for unstable ground that, as they are moved, support and cover become walls, define arenas, and continue to confirm that Howell is one of the best designers on earth. This quote implies that the pillows make the set more exciting and make the set engaging as it transforms as the play goes on. I will let you be the judge as we look at this production. So, as you can see, there are just so many pillows. We have these giant sloping walls in the background. So while it definitely has a little bit more to take in than other productions, it's still a very, very sparse set, and the audience is very, very close upon the actors. One thing this production has that a lot of other productions don't is the bright colors and costuming. Here we have just a little bit more characterization put into costuming, which again gives a little bit less focus, a little bit less on the actors to do themselves. They have a little bit to go on. Now we will look at all the cocks that weren't interesting enough for me to put them earlier in the presentation. So these are a couple of other productions of cock. In this production, it is kind of hard to see. They were set in a boxing ring, like a traditional square. Which I found really interesting. It's a departure from the sort of animalistic focus of this sort of construction, which was a construction for a lot of the productions in the United States to use this exact same production that the original production did. So it has more of a human focus than the sort of cockfight arena. In this production, we just have a circle set in chalk, and the actors kind of, just prowling around over and over, going in this circle. In each of these productions, you can still see the very minimalistic costumes, minimalistic set. It's very muted. The whole play relies on very strong actors, strong performances from actors, so that the words come to the forefront. And that's very much by design. So, in conclusion, today I presented information on 3 different productions of Cock. The productions we focus on are the Royal Court Theatre, the Herald Theatre, and the Melbourne Theatre Company. I hope that this speech illustrated how much sparse set directions can be taken in different ways. I would like to end with a quote from Matt Baker from his review for The Guardian for this play that I believe encapsulates why the set must be so minimalistic. Although there are 3 sides to every story, it will ultimately come down to Team M versus Team W. Those who outweigh the bad with the good of either character. Those who believe in sticking with the devil they know, and those who believe in taking a risk with the unknown. Either way, it's for the people that believe in fighting for a relationship.
Nice, very good.